Hello, welcome to Golden Table Tennis, where we talk about table tennis, analyze players, and make match predictions. Today, I want to discuss a topic that should have been brought up a long time ago, which is the effectiveness of table tennis rebranding to WTT, World Table Tennis. Time flies. WTT has become the main thing of table tennis for almost 4 years. Throughout the years, there has been a lot of criticisms towards WTT, and there is an ongoing debate about whether or not table tennis should even be rebranded as WTT, and is it even beneficial for the sport? In this video, I am going to get to the bottom of this and find out whether or not WTT has made table tennis better or worse. First things first, why was WTT established in the first place? Well, after going down the rabbit hole and reading up multiple articles, I've concluded that WTT has two main purposes. Number one is to make table tennis more popular and make table tennis become a worldwide sport. And number two, make sure the players get paid enough so they can make a living by playing table tennis as a career. WTT is basically a commercialized vehicle of the ITTF, which is understandable as in order to pay the players well, WTT themselves must have enough financial strength to do that. So apparently, table tennis is not very popular compared to other sports. As admitted by the managers of the sport, table tennis is very much an Asian sport as it just seems to have more popularity within the continent, especially China. WTT aims to push table tennis to a wider audience outside of China. The managers also stress that sports need to survive and prevail, indicating that table tennis at the moment doesn't have enough audience. Dayton, the WTT director, also admitted that other sports are growing much faster than table tennis and he aims to catch up to other sports. In terms of pay, I think all of you can agree that the prize money given out to players by ITTF is really depressing. Compared to tennis or badminton, sometimes even the runner-up of badminton tournament has a prize money which is 2 to 3 times more than the table tennis champion. So you can wonder whether or not table tennis players actually survive just by playing table tennis alone. After knowing the purpose and goals of WTT, let's explore the good and bad that WTT has brought to the sport. Like anything else in the world, nothing is perfect. There will be pros and cons for everything, and WTT is no different. So let's discuss, starting with the advantages. First benefit, improved camera quality. I have mentioned this a couple of times on my channel, and I believe regular viewers of table tennis, especially those who started watching from 2015 or earlier, would agree with me. The camera quality of the ITTF era sucks, almost like the matches were being recorded on a phone, but after the introduction to WTT, 1080p resolution is available for all matches, and even in some matches, 1440p and 4K is also available, so it is definitely a plus point for WTT. Number 2. Beautiful arenas. The WTT arenas looks exceptionally stylish and eye-catching. The black theme and neon lighting gives table tennis a modern premium looking impression, which I personally really like. Number 3. More accessible live broadcasts. Another plus point is that table tennis live streams are easily accessible now compared to the past, as a lot of the matches can be watched via YouTube, especially feeders and contenders. We can watch the matches freely with no restrictions whatsoever, and sometimes top players will also be present in those tournaments. Back in the days, you can only watch on TV and you must watch through a subscription. If you didn't subscribe to a sports channel, then you cannot watch the matches and you must wait until ITTF uploads the highlights, but by then, you already know the match results. Number 4. Interactive mobile application. I personally feel like the WTT app is a lifesaver. It is so useful to know future tournaments, who is playing, and watch live scores. Previously, you can only have access to this information through the ITTF website, which is very inconvenient. Number 5. Innovative tier-level tournament segregation. I personally feel like the separation of different tournaments by level is very good for the sport overall. players of different levels get the opportunity to play well. Under the previous system, lower ranked players probably would not have much of a chance to do well, as most tournaments would probably have top players and you are very likely to meet them even in earlier rounds and get eliminated. Now with the separations by tiers, lower ranked players have a better chance of doing well in tournaments like feeders or contenders, as the top players would usually be absent from these tournaments. Other sports like badminton, for example, have similar segregation of tournaments. They call it Super Series 1000, 750, 500, 300, and 100. The Super Series 1000 of badminton is equivalent to a Grand Smash for WTT, and the Super Series 100 is like a feeder event. The new format also allows wildcard nominations to let players who didn't get to qualify through the rankings to participate. After this new policy, a lot of lower ranked players, for example Malaysian players, get to showcase their skills on the world stage in feeder events. They even receive wildcards to play in higher level tournaments like the WTT Contender Taiyuan 2024 and Saudi Smash, which is not possible in the ITTF era. Moving on to the downsides, the first one that comes in mind is definitely the change of the camera angle to the side angle. Now this is quite controversial to be considered as a downside, since it has quite divided opinions. Some people like it, some people hate it. Some people are cool with either angle so as long as they get to watch table tennis. But looking at the majority of feedback, I think a lot of people don't really like the new angle, so I will list this down as a downside. Why WTT made this decision to use this angle is still unclear to this day, as they never made an official statement about it. However, while reading up some articles, I noticed that the senior marketing strategy consultant of WTT, Mr. LeFloc, is a former marketing director at UEFA. UEFA is football, and where does football broadcast their matches? On the side. Maybe he suggested that WTT should also broadcast on the side? I'm not sure. What I do know is that it has made a lot of people, especially existing viewers, uncomfortable. Some even quit watching table tennis because of the angle. The other downside is the confusing match format. While having tournaments of different levels is a good thing, I personally think that having a different match format for every tournament is very confusing. For example, they make earlier matches to be a best of 5 format and later rounds to be a best of 7 format. But every tournament is different. For the Smash, best of 7 starts from the quarterfinals. For Champions and Cup Finals, best of 7 starts from the semis, and for Contenders and Star Contenders, only the final is a best of 7 format. For feeders, it is all matches best of 5. Not only that, different tournaments have different match formats, they have even been constantly changing the match format. Back in 2022, feeder events were best of 7 for all matches, but they changed it to best of 5 for all matches afterwards. Star Contender best of 7 used to start from the semi-finals, but now it only starts in the finals. Smash quarterfinals used to be best of 5, but in 2023, they changed it to best of 7. No wonder you got the players themselves confused. In the Saudi Smash, Hina Ayata thought she won the match after winning the 3rd game and started celebrating like crazy. Even Manika Batra thought she lost and walked up to shake the hands of Hayata. How absurd is that? Top players in the world but confused about the rules? Something is seriously messed up. I think WTT should start standardizing things, like just use best of 7 format for every match. If you really want to make earlier rounds shorter and later rounds longer, then at the very least fix it to a consistent manner. For example, all tournaments would have best of 7 starting from semis, not different for every tournament. The next downside is that WTT content are restricted in many areas of the world. You always have people complaining on the internet saying that they cannot watch Table 1. In Malaysia, where I am from, I also cannot watch Table 1 on YouTube. There is however ways around this, but you cannot watch the matches without doing extra work, and not a lot of people are aware of this trick to watch Table 1 matches. I understand that maybe some countries have bought their broadcast rights and therefore the live matches are not allowed to be shown on YouTube in that particular region. But still, why restrict the match highlights as well? In Malaysia, the match highlights for WTT Champions Frankfurt, which was held 7 months ago, still cannot be watched in Malaysia unless you activate a VPN. A lot of other matches like the Saudi Smash, WTTC Busan and others also cannot be watched yet. Right now, it is better as there are other channels showing the highlights, but my point is WTT itself is still restricting the highlights. This is weird, as if your goal is to promote the sport to a wider audience base, you shouldn't be restricting viewership. Back in the days, ITTF highlights are available to all countries regardless, but now with WTT, a lot of countries are restricted. After walking you through the pros and cons of WTT, I think it is really time to try to answer the question: was WTT a successful rebranding, and did it really succeed in making table tennis more popular? Well, let's first look at some official announcements and articles that claim that WTT did enhance the sport and boost table tennis to a wider audience. A 2022 article by ITTF claimed that the combination of views from the World Championships, WTT Champions and WTT Cup Finals gathered about 932 million audiences. The Singapore Smash 2024 has seen a 77 ticket sale increase from the 2023 edition. Pink Sunday's article claimed that WTT has successfully expanded the sport's fan base by hosting events in diverse locations and improving media coverage. However, I have a lot of skepticism in the reporting. From my point of view, it is very hard to convince me that WTT has really brought that much more publicity for table tennis like what all the sources claim. First of all, if you look at the views of WTT videos on YouTube compared to ITTF, WTT views are much less than ITTF. Let's start from the World Championships. The number of views of the 2017 finals is 1.9 million and the 2019 edition is 1.3 million. But moving to the WTT era, 2021 edition finals, it is 1.1 million, which is still quite decent. But the 2023 edition is very depressing with only 627,000 views. Now let's compare some of the normal World Tour tournaments. This is the top 10 list of the ITTF matches with the highest views. And this is the list for WTT. As you can see, the ITTF era was able to generate much more views of more than 12 million views, while WTT only managed to generate about 9 million views. But maybe some of you would say this is an unfair comparison to compare the top viewed videos, as those videos may have earned a lot of views due to various factors. So okay, I will now take the top 10 mid-range viewed videos from the range of 200,000 to 450,000 to compare again. Even by comparing the medium range views videos, ITTF still leads WTT, so it is really hard to convince me that WTT did make the sport more popular, especially in the era where the internet and technology is so advanced and everybody has access to the videos. Also, I wonder if you guys notice a similar pattern, which is the matches that have higher views tend to have either Ma Long or the LeBron brothers in them. Is it because that the LeBron brothers are a hot topic in table tennis right now and Ma Long is the GOAT? So I'm not sure whether the high number of views of WTT videos is due to the successful implementation of WTT or just because there are some specific players that people really like who carried up the views. Not to mention that some of the matches were upset, which could be also the reason why a lot of people watch them. Apart from online views, physical live views also seem to have plummeted in my opinion after the establishment of WTT. Just look at the Saudi Smash. A Grand Smash is known as the biggest WTT tournament that offers the most ranking points, equivalent to an Olympic gold medal and a World Championship title. But look at the crowd of this semi-finals match. Most of the seats are empty and the cheers are very depressing. Other events like the Star Contender, Doha Finals 2024, where two top Chinese players are playing, is also relatively silent. Some other tournaments may be relatively better, like the WTT Champions Frankfurt 2023. From what I've heard, the crowd is amazing and loud there. Chongqing fans were pretty full as well, and Singapore Smash is also quite packed. But here's the catch. Frankfurt is in Germany and Chongqing is in China. Table tennis is already very popular in these two countries, so for them to attract a huge crowd is kinda expected. Singapore, on the other hand, may not be very famous for table tennis, but Singapore is a renowned country and is also a global financial hub. It is very accessible for people to travel into the country, especially the Chinese. The Chinese love Singapore and they can easily go there, so I'm not surprised if majority of the audience at the Singapore Smash are Chinese. But despite the large audience in these areas, the main question is still whether or not it is more than the ITTF era. Just know for the 2016 World Team Championship held in Malaysia, the final of China vs Japan was able to attract about 20,000 spectators, which is crazy. The World Championship 2017 and 2019 crowd was also amazing. I really can't say the same for the crowd of WTT now, especially World Championships Durban, Doha, and many more. Some common criticisms about WTT is that it is actually a very commercialized entity that focuses on making money and not running the sport. A lot of people even refuse to acknowledge WTT tournaments, calling it commercialized tournaments that adds no value or prestige to the professional players. Even some people using this as a justification to why Ma Long constantly loses in WTT tournaments because he doesn't give a crap about all these fancy commercialized events. For me, I don't think it is fair to not acknowledge WTT tournaments as legitimate tournaments because it is in actual fact that WTT tournaments now are the main thing of table tennis, not ITTF. If you think WTT tournaments are not meaningful even though they are held 10 to 20 times in a year, then which tournaments are? World Champs? World Cup? Only 2 tournaments in a calendar year is meaningful? That doesn't make sense. I think the real commercial events that were previously held were the T2 Diamond 2018 and T2 Diamond 2019. Those tournaments will have weird rules like a 30 minutes timer, no dues, and once the timer runs out, all games will be played to 5 points instead of 11. The WTT Macau is also another commercial event that has no due system and have a best of 9 in the final. Both these tournaments do not offer ranking points and the wins and losses of the players made in this tournament would not be counted towards their head-to-head. There is a big difference between commercialized events and commercial events. Yes, WTT tournaments are now being commercialized, but they are not the same as commercial events. WTT tournaments now runs on the commercialized model, but it still offers ranking points to the players that count towards their world ranking. So it is legitimate. But it is very hard to change people's minds now, especially the minds of people who already have a prejudice towards WTT. As for the prize pools, while the rewards are higher now compared to the ITTF era, there has been a lot of complaints about WTT delaying the payment process. A lot of players have complained that they do not receive their payment on time, for example, Quadri Aruna and Simon Gauzy. Some people even make jokes out of this and say WTT can announce bigger prize money since it's fictional money anyways. They do not actually pay the players. And you really have to wonder, after the commercialization and receiving so many sponsors, WTT should be financially strong, right? So why can't they pay the players on time? Or is that they are making even more losses than before? If so, is WTT a bad business decision? I do acknowledge that there is some weakness and limitation in my analysis. Comparing online views may not be the most accurate measurement of popularity as there are many factors to why viewers are less, for example algorithm, lower views for newer videos, or regional restrictions that were never existed back in the ITTF era. In terms of going to watch live at stadiums, people's lifestyle might have changed after the COVID pandemic that discourages them to go to the arenas, or perhaps the ticket prices are more expensive than before. But again, I am not a WTT or ITTF member to have access to detailed information and analytics to tell whether or not the figures are accurate, so I can only analyze with what I can observe on the internet and the arenas. Therefore, I don't think we can reach any objective conclusion from this video whether or not WTT has actually made the sport better or worse. So I want to have a discussion with you guys. These are my following questions. A. Any fans from the US, South America, the Middle East, or any other regions in the world where table tennis isn't popular but WTT has successfully made the sport accessible to you and made you enjoy it? Are there such fans like this? Comment down below and let me know. B. For existing viewers, Has WTT improved your viewing experience, or did it make you stop watching table tennis because of the change in format and new side angle? C. Are there any new table tennis fans who only started watching table tennis this 1 to 2 years, which is already the WTT era? Was WTT the main reason that attracted you to watch table tennis? Do you like the concept of WTT? And if you do, what do you like about it? Comment down below. Overall for me, I think the concept of WTT is quite good for the sport, especially with the improved camera quality, beautiful arenas, and more accessible live streams. All these were never possible with ITTF. The concepts and intentions are good, maybe just need to brush up on the implementation. At the moment, I don't think it has successfully promoted the sport to new heights. Maybe in a few years more time, it will. We'll just have to wait and see. This is a really interesting topic that I really want to discuss with you guys. So if anyone has any opinions, don't be shy and comment down below so we can discuss this together. With that, I would like to conclude today's video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.